How are you going to, as a citizen, negotiate this conversation?
Now that we've brought in the conversation around citizenship and patriotism, last week the president signed the amended, signed into law the act that amended the national anthem. That's the National Anthem Act of 2024, and so we went back to the former national anthem that was dropped. And one of the things the president said was that, I mean, the lines or the lyrics of the anthem talks about the Nigerian dream, the passion, especially the issue of true federalism when we got independent in 1960. Now, one of the questions, Mr. Kunle, that keeps running through my mind is what really defines you as a Nigerian? I wake up every day, I pay my tax, I'm a law-abiding citizen, I don't, do anything, I don't commit crime, I don't do anything wrong, but I cannot categorically come out and say this is what the government had done for me. I provide my electricity, I provide my water, I provide my security, I took myself through school. What do I gain from being a Nigerian in the real sense of it?
Ask not what your country can do for you, what you can do for your country. That's the first thing. So I always say that, and we need to understand it. I don't agree with the president. I definitely disagree with the president, especially that anthem was written by someone who was non-Nigerian. I definitely disagree with it. But Section 24(2) of the Constitution clearly states that every citizen must respect the national pledge, anthem, flag, and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So as a Nigerian, I'm bound by that. So my personal opinion on it is that I don't respect and I do not understand what the president just did. For me, if you ask me, he decided to bring back an anthem that was sung during his school days because he was feeling nostalgic, but not the fact that I enjoy it. I don't enjoy it. I'm 45. How am I going to an anthem that was taken out in October and I was born in December of that same year of 1978? I have no memory of it, and it's hard for me to learn a new thing. But like I quoted Section 24(2) of the Nigerian Constitution, which clearly states that we must respect the anthem, the pledge, and the flag. So I respect it. It doesn't mean I like it. Now, you ask what makes us Nigerians. The truth is that this is a failure of the National Orientation Agency. And for me, the National Orientation Agency it has always been a problem. National Orientation Agency has always been handed over to politicians and not handed over to a Nigerian. That's why there's no Nigerian identity. If the right person, and it's a job I always wanted. I'll be honest, it's a job I always wanted. And I always wished that I'm lucky. I don't know whether I'm lucky, but I knew my name had come up a few times from that particular job. And I always said that it's a job that needs a Nigerian, because we need to teach Nigerians how to celebrate Nigeria, what makes them Nigerian, what's Nigerian about. That's what's Nigerian about you. You love football. The average Nigerian doesn't love basketball or tennis or like the posh watching F1. The few do, but the average Nigerian loves sport. What's Nigerian about you? It's okay to have this country, which Nigerians do a lot. But you won't tolerate it from Ghanaians, Liberians, or anybody else. That's Nigerian about you. Asking what's Nigerian about you, you always find the way, no matter how hard it is to get done in a day. That's Nigerian behavior. That's the Nigerian thing. Being Nigerian is also enjoying parties. You love a good time. You celebrate weddings. You celebrate burials. You celebrate all of them. That's Nigerian. You're asking for Nigerian identity. That's giving you multiple things. Nigerians enjoy good food. They don't care where it's from, whether it's afang, it's 괶ᴜ, or whether it's miyan kuka or it's anything. Nigerians love good food. They love a good time. Nigerians are for lack of a better word to say, Nigerians are showstoppers. They dress to kill. It's a Nigerian identity. Yeah, Nigerian about us. Nigerians are also some of the most brilliant black people you can find living in the world. And we also speak English as it should be spoken, and no offense to any other African country, but come on, as long as Nigeria is around, they're only second best. That's the Nigerian identity.
Okay, thank you very much. And I think I can really relate with everything you've listed, because I've been privileged enough to, move around Virtually all of the states in it. By the way, the first time I met KUNLE LAWAL, for the people listening, was actually not even in Lagos. It was in Jos, and something popped up, and then he had to be on one of the shows I was doing, and from then on, it's just been a word of bliss and learning and relearning from some of the things he's doing, and so it's always a privilege to have him join me on the show. But now you've established all of these issues. Now we must respect the constitution, we must respect the anthem. We're Nigerians, we're amazing people. But I have a friend, and one of the things he says is that Nigerian leaders, especially within the political space, always take advantage of the fact that Nigerians are very resolute. Nigerians don't give up easily. Nigerians always have a way of getting things done. That's why I always said it, that suicide is alien to Nigeria. It just came into the system a couple of years back, and is really driving a lot of people into the extreme. But how do we put all of these energies together? You look at a typical Nigerian now, and this is just me being very realistic with what we have. A lot of Nigerians don't exactly believe in the Nigerian story anymore. They'll tell you that, oh, every little opportunity, I want to be out of this country. We've seen videos where the new anthem is being recited, and people are sitting down. People were doing so many other things because they feel they cannot accept the new anthem. How do we drive this into the minds of the people to accept the Nigerian dream and move with it? I looked at one of the interviews you granted very recently, and you talked about the fact that the cost of election is high, and you to propose reconsidering an e-election in 2027. I've had this conversation on an open forum with someone, and they said, no, e-election cannot work in this country. INEC is compromised. All of these issues. Mr. KUNLE LAWAL, how do you drive it into my mind as a Nigerian that I have to believe in the Nigerian dream?
Okay, that's the point. I like the part you came from. You went to election. I'm happy to have been part of the team that conducted the only e-election at state executive level intra-party Nigeria. So the only one. We did this in 2016 in Kowa Party, 2017, sorry, Kowa Party. And I've seen how it can work, and I know how it's far cheaper than all the things. We spend close to $2 billion on our election, which is crazy. I also understand that people will come up with conversations like network. I don't want to hail any bank, but all of us use star 737 now. How you don't have a problem? Okay, so it's your money. You trust networks with your money, but you don't trust them with your vote. I don't understand. You don't trust them with your vote. So it's very shocking when people act that way, or when people tend to think that we could just act anyhow, Nigerians, and be anyhow, because so e-elections can work here. Come on, e-elections can work here. Nigeria has one of the fastest bank transfers in the world. And you can check that out. We can't transfer money as fast in the UK or in the US or etc. And it's not because we are that good, it's because the Nigerian is not going to wait for his money for 3 days. We are not that patient. And I think that we can key into that. And my proposition wasn't only, and on that show, wasn't only e-election as per the course. I was also talking about staggering Nigeria's election. The truth is that INEC is not, Nigeria is over 928,000 square kilometers. No country with a population more than 100 million does a presidential election and announces the results in 48 hours. There will be discrepancies. No country in the world, the US, China, largest democracy, India, which had about 678 million people vote, which is more than about almost 2 times Nigeria's population, over 3 times Nigeria's population, vote, not that's their total voting population, vote over 3 times Nigeria's population, over 7 days or 8 days. And I think we should be able to start our elections. And this is the conversation I will be pushing to the highest level, and I've been trying to push it, because the truth is, when you compress Nigeria's election, you notice INEC does better. But when you're trying to cover 928,000 square meters over 176,000 polling units, you are asking for things that cannot be granted. there will be too many discrepancies, and you want all this in 24 hours. It cannot be done. It cannot be done. And those are the problems we have in Nigeria, which we are not discussing openly. And I think this needs to be done. As regards your friend, and when he says Nigerian people take advantage, well, it's a Nigerian thing to take advantage of everybody. In Lagos, what do they say? If you don't shine your eyes, it will dodge you. And trust me, it's true. But you know, so in Nigeria, they can tell you something with an Apple logo, and you find out it's not an Apple phone when you get it. I would say it's also a Nigerian thing. So why are you surprised your leaders are doing it? The truth is that what we as Nigerians are supposed to accept is that our leaders are directly a trait of who we are. There's no difference. We're exactly who we are. And we can only produce leaders like that. I'll give you an example. As much as people want to form the holier than thou, go to your estate group. Is the secretary of the estate not taking money that is supposed to diverting money that is supposed to be used for something else? Within your church group, how many people have diverted church endowment funds and etc.? Let's go to the mosque, same thing. So what the truth is that what the senior ones are even diverting on top, if we exchange some of the junior ones and place them in positions, we'll divert. And so it's a misnomer of identity. This is a country where if you take a first class and you come out of UNN, they will give you 1 million naira. Before the state government gives you that 1 million naira, your father will pay out like 50 times. Meanwhile, if you, no offense to Big Brother, but if you don't even win Big Brother, you participate in your state, you come back, they make you a to the governor, they give you 60 million naira and they give you a house. Why would you want to be a straight person? That's my case, sir.
Interesting.
And I needed to also say this. Nigerians are resolute, but they are not resolute with politics. And I'll tell you why. They wanted to pull out a car. Nigerian youth raised 240 million in 24 hours. No Nigerian youth was broke after that. But Nigerian youth cannot raise 240 million for a youth president. See where the problem lies?
Well, in case you're just tuning in, I've been speaking with KUNLE LAWAL. KUNLE LAWAL is the executive director at the Electoral College Nigeria, and like you heard, he said that by maybe this time next year, it's going to be Electoral College Africa, because they're opening up in some other African, countries, just to spread the message of, our political literacy. It's always a big problem in Nigeria. Look at what is happening in South Africa at the moment, and the ANC has lost its popularity, so they cannot directly form a government. They need to go into coalition with the other opposition party, that of Jacob Zuma and the other political parties. Look at India, for instance. That's about the largest democracy in the world, the largest population. They've also been in election, but look at how we run election in this country. It is always one issue to the other. If it is not, this is here, results are not coming in here, there are killings in these places, and there are so many issues. Well, Mr. KUNLE LAWAL represents an institution that seems to drive the message of participation and involvement, not just the young people, but to fix the country and put them on the right path, of consistent and quality electoral process. Now, let's get back to the conversation of the process by which political parties elect their representatives. Mr. KUNLE LAWAL, in the last primaries, in 2019, I was in Abuja to cover the primaries of the APC, and then in 2014, yes, I was in Abuja to cover the primaries of the APC and the PDP, and the conversation was a bit different to what we had in 2019, where I also went to cover. But in 2023, it was a bit different. 2022, rather, it was also different. Do you think the delegate conversation is counter-democratic? Look at what happened in Ekiti State, for instance. The primaries was open primaries. In Osun State, it was open primaries. In Ondo State, it was open primaries for the APC. The PDP did not do open primaries. Are we getting it right with the choice of primaries that we do, in terms of 3,000 people would choose who over 100 million people would vote for? Does that not sound counterproductive?
I feel first is laziness on the part of the party. I declare that ordinary from form sales alone, there's no party that doesn't make at least 3 billion naira. That's of the 18 parties right now. We make at least 3 billion naira. I don't know why they can't invest that in direct priming. We've always used indirect priming as a way to do things that are not right within our democracy. Now, it's not about the 3,000 that are participating in the indirect priming. It's who the 3,000 are that is important. It's not the 3,000. So if we pick from random strata, from random, we'll have a more cohesive or thought-oriented selection. But we pick from, I don't even know, I don't want to say from the gutter, but we pick from the gutter. Being most simple about it, we pick from the gutter. We can't expect to get anything good out of it. Selections are made not because of Nigeria, made not because of dedication to party or to party principles or to party ideologies, and they just pick because the person is the highest leader for whatever their votes are available for sale for. No, we can't continue in this manner. We can't continue to project this on us. That's why the Electoral College has always said, join a political party, be part of the system, do something that everybody wants to do. Yeah, be part of a system, so that in the end we can start to have people participating more. And I'll tell you something. The youngest certificate the Electoral College has released, because you said training young people, the youngest certificate the Electoral College has released was to a 9-month-old baby. And this is because the mother was so attentive in class, and whenever she wanted to ask questions, the daughter was always screaming or whatever. So we released a certificate to the baby. She's the youngest person to have a certificate in the Electoral College. And the eldest.
As much as you've been excited growth the last 5 years, talked about how many people you've graduated and the goal to push it further, what have been the biggest challenge that you've had to face in the course of trying to drive this message of political literacy down to the people? I know that by the virtue of what you do a lot of advocacy, especially down to the grassroots. What have been the biggest challenge in terms of resistance, in terms of, you think this is how things should be done properly, but this is how people think it should be done? Talk to us about that. Is it religious? Is it tribal? How has been the challenges so far for you in the last 5 years?
For me, if you ask me directly and I'm to answer you, the biggest challenge I would not say it's a thing. It's actually a strata, a set of people. And the strata will be the middle class in Nigeria. Those who are middle class in politics, those who have lost university. And I'll tell you what the problem is. They think they know. We've had this problem across the college, in different forms, on radio, within the classes, on events that are physical outside, on virtual events. They think they know. Nigerians are ready to argue with you that no political party has an ideology. Meanwhile, the person arguing has never been part of the political party, has never opened the party constitution, and doesn't understand anything. I've had to engage with people that have called Nigeria a failed state. And these are all coming from people that, are considered upper echelon of the society. The middle class is most complacent in our democracy, and I always tell people you never see an elite politician giving money. It's the middle class that is the conduit to perpetrate such things. The middle class has been a problem, and even when you enter very high conversations, and I've been in very high conversations with people of note who I wouldn't mention it, and everybody wants to talk about Abuja. They have to be central. I'm like, okay, calm down. In Etusa, in Alimosho, for example, the offer allocation is 1.1 billion. The local government chairman has no immunity. Why are you not discussing with him first? You want to go to Abuja and be arguing with Tinubu or Buhari? That doesn't make little sense to me. It doesn't. And a lot of media houses are caught up in this. Everybody just wants to discuss the president and nothing else. Why don't you sit down? And this is my advice to media houses like those. I gave the same advice yesterday. And this is my advice to media houses. And my advice has always been this. First and foremost, you need to be able to say, look, focusing on Alimosho. This is their past allocation. This is their idea. This is their local government chairman. He's done nothing. He has no this. He has no that. You invite the local government chairman to defend himself. If he cannot defend himself, you tell the people that they should hold him accountable. You can't give 1.1 local. You can't give 1.1 billion per month to a place that looks at it that interlocking tiles as an express, or does not have drainage, or does not have primary health care centers or good public schools. It's not explainable. It's inexplainable. And this is over 12 billion a year, or actually over 13 billion a year. So what we're not having these conversations, and I think because we're not having these conversations, it feels comfortable. I look at President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I remember when he was governor, he split Lagos, added 37 LCDs, challenged the president then, Obasanjo, went to war, was asking for a lot of things that were going to be inculcated. He wanted money given to those LCDs. But now that he's president, he's the one now calling on local government. So you can see that when you sit on the chair, you finally see what the problems are. I think we Nigerians, he put out a call. There was a video he put out a call. You hold your governors, they're holding local government funds. He's saying it. Can you imagine? Someone who about 25 years ago was on the other side causing problems. So it goes to show what we've chosen to be important in this country and what we've read. So, like I'm saying anytime, the problem with the electoral college, the biggest challenge has been the middle class. Middle class doesn't want to know, doesn't participate, doesn't care, and expects good results. Therein lies the problem.
So what I know that these challenges been identified, and there is always going to be that positivity, that call for expansion. What are the days ahead? What are they bringing up for the electoral college? It's 5 years of people-driven sensitization, political literacy across board, down to even the coldest and the most obscure part of this country. But it's been 5 years also that shows that the next 50 years could be great. What are your projections going forward? In the next 10 years, I want to, from every part of the world, say this is what
I'm not Gaddafi or Hussein. I don't want to be in the electoral college 50 years from now.
I mean, it's not about you. It's about the institution.
No, that was a joke. Of course, I want the electoral college. The legacy we're building. So yes, we've been to obscure parts. We've dealt with quite a lot of things. Like I said, we have a lot of new things coming on. I'm looking very, very in earnest to the Edo debate. This time, it will be well focused. We are looking at partnering more pro radio stations. Yours is open, so maybe we could start our courses in Yoruba and in Igbo and in this. We also are running Politics in 5. We're putting this on multiple channels. The mainland FM, if they're interested, I'll be honest, I keep telling you we don't have dollars. So we can find a sponsorship agreement in which you guys, if you love the country, want to be part of. So we're doing all that. Like I said, also electoral college club in secondary schools and primary schools. Corona, which will be something we're moving on very soon, and a few others across the country. So next 1 year will be very hectic for me. I go to Edo even next week, and I go back to Abuja and start to Edo again to prepare for the Edo debate. We created quite an example with the Lagos debate. If you know the electoral college, we do not stop at we just did that. I'm thinking of how to do the Lagos debate by 5. So we're very, and we feel that debates are necessary. And the reason why we intervene at debates is because most times the people who moderate debates do not even understand the restrictions or the restrictions of office of governors and etc. You find them talking to governors about tertiary institutions when the state government is vested with secondary education and local government have access to primary. Another point. So we tried to we went into that so that we could structure that into what it's supposed to be. Most of the time, what we're doing is just a learning process. And if Nigerians kick in, the electoral college is not. We don't think we're the ones that want to do it, but we want to show people how it's done and then step back and become the system that everybody does. So we're intervening on quite a lot of fronts. We were planning so many universities reach out. We'll be talking with Benson in the outside university is very, very open to us even developing a course that's like a gen course, which is a summation of our modules for its 100 level, which is compulsory for everyone to pass the 1 unit credit. We're in that conversation. My multiple conversations, and I like I said, you can see why my eyes are red at 45. I barely see. But the work has been only strengthened by passion, and I love what we do for the country.
Thank you very much, KUNLE LAWAL, for joining me on the show today. Wow, it's been an amazing time. 15 minutes of conversation around leadership, around the institution that helps to strengthen democracy, most especially around the activities of the Electoral College. It's been 5 years of big drive about political literacy, sensitizing the people, and making the people understand that, hey, election would not come up by itself. You would have to get involved, and don't let us make it a selective thing. Thank you so much, KUNLE LAWAL, for being with us on the show, and thank you for always responding each time I reach out to you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, enjoy the rest of your weekend. And my regards to everyone, at the Electoral College.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. Well, we just had a conversation with KUNLE LAWAL, the Executive Director at the Electoral College Nigeria, soon to be Electoral College Africa. And I really needed to chip that in, because all of these issues around strike, all of these issues around insecurity, food crises, all of these problems that we're having is basically an offshoot of the quality of leaders that we have. How do we emerge? How do our leaders emerge? You go to the polls and somebody would tell you that, oh, once I win the primaries of my party, I've already won the election. How do you explain that? How do you explain a situation whereby, well, the election is there, the Electoral Act is there, the Constitution is there, all of these are institutions that are supposed to strengthen our election, but on the other side we have to be open to reviews within our electoral laws and new ways of conducting election. The Electoral College had always been at the forefront of advocating for e-voting, where, I mean, just the way we use our ATM cards at point of sales, that's POS points, it's basically about, voting at the comfort of your home. Maybe we'll get into that conversation. Someone said, oh, we have a problem with data. But if you go to the bank, I've always said it jokingly, that one of the easiest places to get as in complete details of people is the bank, because people don't joke with their money. Somebody can give you a fake phone number at the bus stop or somewhere else, but if you go to the bank, you get the original phone number, because people don't joke with their money. Why can't we have institutions that will liaise with the bank, get the people's data, so that we can, cut down the cost of governance? When we say cutting down the cost of governance, it goes beyond looking at the convoys of the president and all of that. We spent over $2 billion on the last election that we had, and we're still having issues. In fact, about 93% of the total total offices contested from the last election went to the court, from the president to the Senate. About 93%. That's a huge one. That means almost everyone that had the election had their results challenged. An election that took us over $2 billion, to come up with. Well, we keep the conversation going, and in between the debates, in between the NLC, in between the food crisis, we bring in individuals that can help us to speak to institutions that will strengthen our democracy. We'll take a quick break. When we come back on the turn of 5 o'clock, I'll read your messages and I'll also pick your calls on 0913 0410, or you go on our Facebook page, facebook.com/mainland 98.3 FM, or you go on YouTube, mainland 983, on X, formerly Twitter. You can also follow us, it's mainland FM, and on Instagram it's mainland 98.3. Let's keep the conversation going. I will step aside for the headline news, and on the turn of 5 o'clock I would come back to pick your calls and also read your messages. Don't go nowhere.
When the airwaves in your market become more and more crowded, It's time to break it open and really stand out. Broken Air is here.
On mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos.
Headline news on 98.3 mainland FM.
Good evening. Headline news on mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Omobola Sandra. Minimum wage. NLC and TUC suspend strike for 1 week. Strike. Flight operations resume at Lagos Airport and others. INEC extends voter registration for Edo and Ondo polls. Senator Abdul Ningi back in plenary after 3-month suspension. On the foreign scene, 7 new bodies found in Kenya's Shakahola forest as exhumations continue in Doomsday Court. Haiti swears in Gary Conille as Prime Minister. In sports, Chelsea open negotiations to sign Eagles star after rejecting Osimhen. That's the headline news on Mainland FM. Details at 5:30.
You're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM. The sound of Lagos.
Ẹ káàsán, ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ àṣàyàn ìròyìn ní Mainland 98.3 FM. Ẹ gbọ́ àwọn kókó inú ìròyìn. Eégún ìyanṣẹ́lódì lè wọ ìgbàlẹ̀ lọ bí ìjọba àpapọ̀ àti NLC ṣe fohùn ṣọ̀kan lórí owó oṣù àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ ọba. Àjọ INEC àti iléeṣẹ́ ọlọ́pàá ti fojú inú wo àwọn agbègbè èṣù takosi kálẹ̀ ríran wò ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ondo kí ètò ìdìbò gómìnà tó wọlé dé. Ààrẹ Tinubu kéde pé ìṣàkóso
To cook correct food, they always give me joy. That's why anytime when I dey cook like this, I dey always season am with no cubes. Come add correct vegetables inside. Ugu, tatashe, shombo, onions. No one wey I no dey put. Na im make my pikin dem dey always enjoy my cooking.
Daddy, I never available. I want more.
You see, na all your food with correct vegetables. Come season am with no cubes for that ogbonge delicious taste. Today, chop better. You have had water-shaped cement and confirm. You number one waterproof cement for Naija. Ogbonge cement for waterlogged areas. Number one waterproof cement for Naija. You have had water-shaped cement number one. You have had waterproof cement good for answer. No matter wahala. With Lafayette water-shaped cement, water go collect. From under the house, foundation and basement to come. Ogbonge cement, the water run areas. Number one waterproof cement for Naija. Put full stop for water wahala.
Meals have a way of taking us on a journey, and when you add plenty of vegetables like efo, ugu, and season with the rich taste of North seasoning cubes, even better.
So, go ahead and elevate your meals with more vegetables and the rich taste of Knorr cubes. Today, eat for good.
You have had water-shaped cement and confirm. You number one waterproof cement for Naija. Ogbonge cement for waterlogged areas. Number one waterproof cement for Naija. You have had water-shaped cement number one. You have had waterproof cement good for answer. No matter wahala. With Lafayette water shoot cement, water to collect. Water jam house, foundation and basement to go. Ogbonge cement, the water run areas. Number one water drop cement for Naija.
Put full stop for water wahala.
You're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM. The sound of Lagos.
Things seem anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship we face. I wish there were other ways, but yes, not. If there were,
in our quest to bring to the table issue-based conversation around nationhood and development, we have made 4 to 5:30 p.m. Monday to Friday a perfect time to welcome you into the Situation Room as we continue to build the narrative about public service and accountability.
Mr. President, this Senate needs to know. Mr. President, this Senate needs to lend its voice to the plight of these people. Mr. President, there is nowhere I can say to except here. This is where I'm elected. If I cannot say these things on this floor, sir, I better resign and leave.
As elections give the citizens the chance to make their political decisions, constant demand for quality leadership from those they voted into office.
Look at us, man, there is nothing, we are starving. We should please do something.
It's also important to having a Nigeria of everyone's dream. Join Oᴘᴇyémi as it takes to task seasoned analysts, opinion makers, business professionals, and politicians on issues around politics, policies, governance, and leadership. Every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your super dial, Mainland 98.3 FM. We welcome you in your next as we discuss the situations.
You're welcome back. Just like you heard, we get to do these every Mondays to Fridays from 4 to 5:30 p.m. and it's called the Situation Room, and you're live on Mainland 98.3 FM. Don't forget that we'll also extend the conversation to our social media spaces. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/Mainland 98.3 FM. On Instagram and YouTube, it's Mainland 98.3 FM, and on X, formerly Twitter, it's Mainland FM. We get to keep you abreast of information, we entertain you as well, and ultimately we educate you as regards everything you need to know around the world and of course from Nigeria. My name is Tᴏɪᴜnᴛᴇʀ M쏘ɪᴅᴜ. I had a session with the Executive Director of Electoral College, KUNLE LAWAL, from 4 to 5 p.m. We talked about our political literacy, we talked about the process at which we elect our leaders, we talked about how the message of involvement and patriotism can be driven down to the minds of the people, so that beyond just learning the first or the second stanza of the national anthem, you see the country as your own project, and then it helps us to form our decision when we make choices, especially electoral choices. I think one particular line that was pretty much everywhere in the last election was election have consequences, and truly they do have consequences. Time for you to join the conversation. 09136000410, and don't forget to also drop your comments on our social media platforms. Hello, good evening. Hello. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you. How you doing?
I'm very well. Good to have you join us on the show. Your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, Kenny from Silver.
Mr. Kenny, good to have you.
Yeah, my man. Yeah. Hey, my brother, very quick one. You see, this our labor president and TUC. I don't understand these people. I don't. You see, God, they don't have qualities of a good leader. You must be fighting for the position of strength. When the strike was on, you are having upper hand. You are supposed to maintain that tempo and hold them ransom so that they will be committed. Now they gave you a blanket, a political statement that will pay something above 60. Go and call up. Hello, this is what they call Sakaman Joe. You understand me? Because once you call off the strike, you see AGF will come up with so many experts.
The strike was not called off. The strike was not called off. It was suspended.
Whether suspended, whichever language or terminology you want to use. In as much that they have dropped the ball, AGF, you see them, they will come up with court injunctions and expertise and this and that. They will hold them as jugular. They will not turn it to strike again. No. I tell them will not say strike. They will just say we are doing possession at the rally. They will turn it to rally. It will not be strike again. I don't know. This is how they do our foreign policy. You understand? You call yourself a leader. You must be fighting for the position of strength. You have had upper hand against these people. You have seen them. The Senate president, everybody was running to you need to maintain that tempo. Hold it. Look at Israel and Palestine. Even they are telling Israel to stop. Israel say lie. Let's be negotiating while I'm doing what I'm doing. Because once you drop the ball, they will attack you.
Thank you very much.
Look at Ukraine and Russia. The same thing applies there.
Thank you.
You must be fighting for a position of strength. These guys that just dropped the ball. Before you can gather that momentum to mobilize people again, my guy, wallahi, nobody will follow you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's talk to other people as well. 0913-600-0410. Well, I read the statement of the joint statement by both NLC and the TUC, and let's just hope that the government this time around will choose to act responsibly and stick to their commitments in respect to the minimum wage. The SGF, that's the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, talked about the fact that the government is committed to giving above 60,000 naira as minimum wage. So let's see how far of that would go. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. Is that Mainland FM?
Yes, you're live in the Situation Room.
Okay, good evening, Opayemi. My name is Shola.
Mr. Shola, good to have you today.
Thank you so much. Yes, I want to start by commending your guest from the Electoral College.
Thank you.
You spoke well as a very good professional. Then you yourself, you are doing a good job.
Thank you.
So then, talking about the awareness of Nigerians, or let me say the responsibility of Nigerians, towards in the political space, let me that way. What I see is that Nigerians are docile to the extent that we are leaving our faith in the hands of some few people. But what we fail to know is that there is strength in numbers. And I believe Nigerians are still putting up with what the leaders, what those in government are throwing at us, because we are expecting some few people to fight for us. How do I mean? Okay, now look at the NLC. The greatest surprise for me would have been if NLC had stood their ground. I knew that they were going to cave in. They started well, you understand? Even to the extent that Nigerians were feeling the pain. Somebody had light. If the nation was put to a standstill, you understand? That would have been a kind of catalyst.
But can I quickly talk to you? I mean, if you listen to what my guest KUNLE talked about, he said the blackouts did not even affect the people that are supposed to affect. He said because it's based in Abuja, and he says the better part of Abuja, that's the elite part of Abuja, they have light.
Yes, to buttress what you said, that was my own complaint to yesterday. I was like, this thing doesn't affect those at the top echelon. But later, I realized that was why I said that Nigerians needed to be instigated. You understand? If that would have, it would have pushed the common people, the grassroots people out on the street. So Nigerians need to be pushed. You get what I'm saying now? That is why I'm going to. So Nigerians need to be pushed. Now, unfortunately, NLC has caved in. So now it's left to Nigerians. And another thing I want to round up with is that, please, just because of your guest, what we mentioned, Nigerians need to be educated, need to be given orientation on the fact that we are supposed to be directly involved in politics without sentiment. That is what really affects us. As long as my person is there, let us give him a try. Like somebody mentioned it yesterday, I heard on the program. That person was saying that the president leader, the government, the president that is not doing well against his own expectations. But because he likes him, if he comes again, he will see both things. You can imagine. So based on sentiment, so it's not for us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Keep the calls coming in. Let me quickly stop over on Facebook. Michael Uriah says, good evening. If Nigeria is to have a free, fair and credible election in the future without INEC reforms that include appointment of INEC chairman by an independent body, commissioners, ad hoc staff, financial independence and institutions will be a mirage. Upon the shortcomings associated with the 2023 general election, has INEC account been audited? The people involved in the irregularities prosecuted. That's Professor Mike from the United States. Benjamin EC on Facebook says, where we are presently as far as election process is concerned is INEC. Just imagine what happened in the 2023 presidential election. What INEC did, which is still very fresh in the minds of the good people of Nigeria, which has brought us to where we are today. That's Benjamin from Shogunle. The NSA has woken up from their deep sleep. They ought to demand for removal of the president. The day the subsidy was removed, buying of yachts and buying 160 million for SUVs for rubber stamp the Senate, traveling with billions, turning the people into beggars in the midst of plenty. As for the Senate, they just prove that loyalty is for the government and is cash and carry. Okay, thank you very much, Dayadara, for your message on Facebook. Hello, good evening, Mr. Gege.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. President.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I want to comment your guest this afternoon. He spoke to, in fact, when he was reading at the particular time, he was reading, talking about what we stand for, what we Nigerians stand for. I was like, wow, so many things. Did you record the interview?
Yes. You can actually watch it again on our social media platform. It's on Facebook, it's on YouTube as well.
Because some of those things you review, you know, they are very necessary. They are very important. That's not.
I'm really struggling to hear you, but I hope the message has been passed across. 09136000410. If you can, Mr. Gege, try and call back. Hello, please rise.
But me, I'm around.
You're welcome.
I'm always waiting for your time.
Thank you.
4 o'clock is for Mr. Tᴏᴇ, and the way the love of God, we keep everything we are doing, we put it aside. I must really thank your guest. He spoke very well. The way you know Nigeria today, if you want to get Nigeria better, I'm telling you, we need artificial change in this country. You know how people in the realm of Asia, they are educationally qualified. But the problem we are facing in their corporate, their honesty, that's it. Because corruption makes the professor look like a stack illiterate. When money setting, everything, you take what is not done to you, you do a fine job. That's for that. But what is going now, Tᴏᴇ, about the Labour Congress, the Friday, the West Point yesterday, for me, I did not approve it at all. Because you want to dialogue to the extent to inform Mr. President to come to the table. I read it on my Facebook today that this was end, and the Mr. President was reside over the meeting. And because the board, everything ended on his table, he should be the moderator today and make sure he promise the Labour Congress what they have for them. Now, when it's sort of let's say yesterday, gloomy back, they were working, other private body were working. Okay, what are they punishing now? So for me, the strike for me is not a popular one. 10 days to salary. You are saying you want to start all of us. You are talking of no money. And when we have to find money to celebrate.
Prince Wise, is it money that is available that they use to celebrate Salah?
If whether one money available, whether one money not available, we must celebrate our Salah.
Absolutely.
Hey, if I say Tama, we go celebrate her now.
Of course.
It is not the trouble for getting what you want to use to celebrate. So it takes a wrong step. And the most apparent, if you take note, when it want to happen, anything that will affect the majority of Nigeria is to tackle it.
That's why I'm surprised to get the table today and get the NSC what they have for them.
Thank you,
and
Prince
I want
Wise.
everyone to shift a little bit. Listen to the right, listen to the left. Because they are around 90,000. That is 3 flooded this is increment. So that's what I want to.
Thank you.
Get there for us. Then we don't want any more
Thank you very much, Prince Wise. Thank you very much. 0913-600-0410. Your guest spoke really well today, but the issue with INEC is that they are being appointed by the government. So it's a case of who dictates the It's a case of who pays the piper dictates the tune. I won't believe that's what you want to write. This country will be great if we can get our electoral process right. God bless Nigeria. Femi from Ikorodu. Okay, thank you very much. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
You're welcome. I'm struggling to hear you. Can you move away?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I think it's better now. Go on.
Okay. The thing is, most Nigerians are not really happy with what's going on in Nigeria. And the unfortunate thing is that people in government are not paying attention to it. What really baffles me is the fact that most of our leaders today, they were once in the street. You hear them campaign, you hear them say one or two things. And now when they get to the government, they forget exactly where they come. Now, it was Tinubu that said, let the poor breathe when he was campaigning. Now, senior people jumped to their office and they were walking up with letting the poor breathe. Now the poor are no longer breathing, the poor are choked. So I want to ask a question. Does it mean that all this that journalists have been saying all this while, do they actually listen to the news? Do they have anything to do concerning, people's mind and opinion?
Of course they do. That's why they have loads of media aides everywhere. So they do. They have leadership from their political parties that also listen to the news and watch the news. They read newspaper. Millions of naira is being allocated every year for newspapers to be supplied in Aso. So you expect them to listen to the news. They do. They do listen to the news. I mean, how do you do that? Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
That's Mr. Alaba.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Yeah. You're with us.
Thank you. Hello.
I'm with you, Mr. Alaba.
Yes, thank you. First of all, I want to beg your guests. First of all, they have two things to do for me. To imbibe it as a culture into their electoral college processes. It's a good thing, that is what America is using. If you could remember, Trump, was it Trump or this current president of America, won the president with electoral college vote?
Yeah, that was former President Donald Trump against Hillary Clinton.
Yes,
in 2016.
Yes, we can also imbibe that kind of culture that will help us. I want to beg them, maybe anytime you have opportunity to speak with him again, just tell him, we have most of these our secondary school students from SS1, even from GS3 down to SS3, we have those numbers of age voters there. So if these people can be, how many of these numbers, number of secondary schools we have in this school, in this country. So let them place their flashlight in that area. Also, the second thing is that the local government, I want them to place their flashlight on the local government. We need the total freedom of the local government. Let the local government be free. Let INEC be in charge of I'm a politician. I'm one of the youth in APC. But the way the local government is being treated, no, we are not in support of that. So the electoral voters should please extend their flashlight on the area of freedom for the local government. If all these things have been done, we have way to go.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alaba. Thank you very much for joining the conversation. Larry, look on me on Facebook. I see you. Let me talk to this caller. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Lakunle, you're welcome.
Well, Labour has done what they've always planned to do, to slow down things that at times are not needed. And they've also been able to suffer the poor and the masses in Nigeria by shutting down the grid. The little money they have that they've used to go buy fuel to run their businesses should not have happened if they had enjoyed their 4 to 5 hours. People have died in the hospitals because of this, that they had to move their people out of here for this. So I am saying that anything that Labour does, that they claim to fight for the masses, is this how they intend to fight for the masses? That's a big question to them. So they need to have this thought from the back of their mind to understand that they are fighting for the people, not they are fighting for the rich. Because as it looks now, the rich are trying to punish, they are punishing the poor for it. And it's totally unacceptable. In addition to what they are doing, they also need to think in economic terms. If states tell you they can pay only 48 and corporate bodies tell you they can pay 60, why are you tying rules around their neck and telling them to pay what you know that tomorrow they will not be able to afford? 15 states now have not paid the minimum wage in 2019. Do you want to increase it to 25 or 30? Then even how much is the inflation that has grown on this money since 2019 to today? It's 125%. 125% of 30,000 will give you 67,500. Where are you now getting your 400 and something that you are talking about? So we need to really look at these things and be fair on all of these things. We all agree that things are challenging and we are all in pain. But some of all these things are not economic. Most of these states are not viable. A lot of them live on fact. If you take all these things and put it in, you would be using over 40 to 50% of what they earn to pay salary. So we need to do better. Okay, thank you very much and God.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kunle. And in the process of doing better, we also need to task the governors to look inward, and it's not just about creating different tax outlets or whatever. It's about checking what you have to make sure that the people in your country don't sleep the night hungry. I totally understand what everyone is saying, but hey, I mean, if the government had done the needful, there was a 37-man tripartite committee that was set up since January or February, and this is June. So if the government had done the needful, if they've been able to, come up with sincerity of purpose in negotiating the minimum wage, I'm sure the yesterday's strike wouldn't have happened, and that's the fact. And by the way, protests are constitutional as long as they're done within the demands of the law. There's nothing wrong in that. Michael Uriah says the people should not blame the labor union leadership for suspending the strike. Both NLC and the TUC were under tremendous pressure from all angles, that there was no other option available for them than to suspend the strike. What they see is you sitting at home cannot see it. Nigeria's existence is very fragile. That is why we have to be very, very careful. Lanrola Komi says it is only the perceived enemies of the country that would want the fragile economy to be grounded so as to use as part of their campaigns against the government. INEC is trying their best, even though their best is not enough. Well, Kudirat Abiola made Nigeria's democracy possible. That was the word of Atiku Abubakar, the former vice president and the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the 2019 and 2023 presidential election. Today marks the 28th year that one of Nigeria's democracy martyrs was assassinated in Lagos. I'm talking about the late Alhaja Kudirat Abiola. While her husband was in detention, she was assassinated exactly on the 4th of June 28 years ago. That's a long time. Well, I had the son join me on the show yesterday, Abumumuni Abiola, and I asked him, what are you guys up to? And he said it's been every single year to celebrate the good memories of their mother, and then the whole issue continues again. But the question is this: those sacrifices, are they really worth the value of what we're enjoying right now as a democracy? I would leave you to ponder on that. Tomorrow by 1 o'clock, I will be back with Side Forward for midweek politics, and you know I will do that. It is core political conversation. No guest, we just take you through. We slice deep into every political conversation that you may want to imagine. Don't miss that for anything in the world. It's going to be 1 to 3 p.m. tomorrow, and by 5:30 the full bulletin will also come through. By 6 o'clock we'll give you the Tuesday edition of Sport Cruise on Mainland 98.3 FM. Big shout out to everyone that joining on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, and for the people that requested for the recording of this program, it's on Facebook. You can get it. Thank you so much, and stay safe, stay out of trouble. My name is 𝐴̀ọ̀pẹ́yẹmí. Oᴘᴇyémi Akínyẹ̀dé. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. All our programs continues live on Mainland 98.3 FM. We are the sound of Lagos.